Hello, this is Barbara Dean Franklin. Welcome to my channel.
Once again.
Greetings, Saints, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Barbara Dean Franklin Show. I am your host, Barbara Dean Franklin, and today I have the awesome pleasure of sitting with my special guest, Ms. Shirley Williams of Dominion Family Services. Welcome, Shirley. How are you?
Oh, fine, thank you, and thank you, Barbara.
Hey, it is a pleasure. It is truly my pleasure. I'm gonna first read Dominion's mission statement, tell a little bit about Dominion, and then I want you to tell me what it is that you do there, why you do what you do. Dominion Family Services, it says when you go to their website that change is not impossible. At Dominion Family Services, you believe that getting to the root cause of violent behavior and understanding the reasons we turn to violence is the beginning of change. We believe that a converted heart and an educated mind can bring about good character. All of us must buy into the notions of violence-free families in order for the next generation to see change. Your batterer intervention programs are unique because they offer a holistic approach to interpersonal violence issues. They give the participant tools for change and techniques for managing their violent behavior in a positive way. Your Men at Work programs are designed at their root to keep victims safe, bring accountability, and then help men better engage in family and community life. So your goals are to aid families in developing skills, to educate men by providing a variety of programs, to eliminate unwanted social behaviors, to hold ourselves accountable for the contribution we as men have made to the environment of violence, whether good or bad. And your values are safety in families, equality in all relationships, progressive thinking, knowledge, and integrity. So I think that that is a great place to start about everything it is that you're doing. I share with you that I was a domestic violence advocate, and we always go out for the survivors, of domestic violence, but I never really saw anybody addressing the other side of that. So I think that this is good. This is a preventative, more proactive instead of reactive kind of approach to that. So Ms. Shirley, tell me a little bit about how long you've been with Dominion Family Services and why you're doing what you do.
I'm one of the co-founders of Dominion Family Services, and Dominion was birthed out of a shelter, Interim House of Shelter for Women and Children of Domestic Violence that the YWCA have in Detroit. Right. So one day I used to work there part-time, and it just hit me one day, because we always have this saying when to go out into the community and we do the presentations that a woman will leave her abuser 7 times before she really divorced herself from her abuser. But what she would do, she would either change faces but same character. So one day it just hit me, if we do not help the counterpart, domestic violence will never end.
Amen.
And most domestic violence agency, they always say, we're here to end domestic violence. But it will never end, because there's one thing for sure, a woman is going to have a man.
Exactly.
She'll change characters, she'll change faces or something like that. But we need to address the issues of men. So Dominion Family Services was birthed out of that. So Father Michael and his wife and I, we sat down and we talked about what can we do, how can we do it. So we started Dominion Family Services in 1995.
Okay, and I have a little history with Father Michael, because we worked together at Michigan Bell. He was a technician and I was his router, and anybody that heard my story, the first interview, I talked about routing the technicians, dispatching, when they came in, they called me, I would send them on their routes, and I tried to line up their loads for the day as best as I could to make sure they didn't get a milkman route, that they stayed kind of strategically, in the area in which they were supposed to do the service. And then I ran into Father or at nonprofit workshop. So I thank God for, you know, him crossing my path again, in a totally different capacity. You know, I saw him with the, you know, like I didn't, you know, I hadn't had any contact with him. So I really think that this is good, because I always believe that in order to address a problem, you really need to get to the root of that problem. You know, we can put a Band-Aid on a lot of things, we can do but until we find out why people are really doing some of the things that they're doing, you know, we never really get rid of the problem. So I guess that what you guys are doing, you know, hopefully you're addressing a problem that one day you're going to go out of business. You know, one day.
We would like to do that.
Yeah, one day, if you know, if everything is working the way it's supposed to work, then
Yes.
you will be, you know, out of a job. You know, we'll be trying to find something else to do, you know.
Well, that's one of our philosophies, is to get to the root of the problem, because Dominion Family Services, the name itself, is a biblical name.
Okay.
We believe that men supposed to have first take dominion over themselves,
Okay.
then take dominion over their families, and then they're able to take dominion over their community. And in that way, the family oriented, the peace that needs to be in a community, the unification that needs to be in a community, and the protection that's supposed to be in a community would do that if a man discover within himself who he is, what he wants, and what he needs. One will outweigh the other. But we have found out a lot of men and women do not know who they are, what they want, and what they need. So these are some of the tools that we give our clients who come to us. We try to give them first to identify, not, you know, they have been mandated by the courts to come to us.
Okay.
And we have some walk-ins, men who realize that they need some issues around domestic violence, family issues, and anger management. But one of the things where we always let them know that we're not going to talk about your partner.
Okay.
We're going to talk about what's going on with you.
All right.
Let's get to the root and the cause of your issue. And I used to, in being an advocate for women, victims of domestic violence, I always tell them, you know, the target is you, but the problem is not you.
Right.
The problem is him.
Right.
It's something going on in his life that he is unresolved, that he's taking it out on you because you're the closest person to him.
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about some of the programs that you offer. I'm going to go through quickly and just talk about them. Then we'll go back and you'll tell me a little bit about what's going on. You have the Men at Work program. You have the Anger Management program. You have the Assaulted Offenders program. You have the Fatherhood Initiative program, Women's Network, Link to Link, and then you also have other services and referrals that you have, like drug and alcohol testing, marijuana insight program, driving while license suspended, give the gift of sight, and a child therapist. So let's take it from the top. Let's go with Men at Work. Tell me a little bit about that program. I see that it's offered for 26 to 52 weeks. How do the Men at Work program, how would somebody get into that program?
One or two ways. They can volunteer, find out that something's going on with them in their relationships, in their marriage, or with a significant other, and they can enroll for 26 weeks. The 52 weeks come from if we have someone mandated from the courts, if it's their second offense, then they have to do 52 weeks of domestic violence. And the 26 weeks is the first offense of 26 weeks of domestic violence. And this is where they get the understanding about the law, why they got arrested, what was the court procedure, what's going to happen if you allow this behavior to continue in your relationship, and then we get into who they are and what they want and what they need, and how to have a healthy relationship. The next one is
the next program that you have is the Anger Management program.
Anger management is for anybody. You could have had a problem on your job. Could have had a problem with a neighbor, and the police had to come out and arrest you. And you get charged with anger management issues, anger issues. So what they will do, they will send the persons to us, be male or female, for 16 weeks of anger management. Now, in the anger management program, it's the same philosophy. You must find out who you are, what you want, what you need, what's your issues, get to the root of your issues. And sometimes these issues go way back from childhood.
Yes, they do. Okay, then the Assaultive Offenders Program, AOP.
The Assaultive Offenders Program is for those returning citizens, those people who have been incarcerated and for whatever the charges or whatever the crime they've committed, they will have to take an Assaultive Offenders Program. So what usually happens while they're incarcerated, they will send us a letter asking to be in our program on our list, so when they get out, they can come to us for 16 weeks.
Okay, that's good. So the assaultive offenders, so these are people you said that are incarcerated.
Correct.
They come out. And again, this is man, woman, or child. I mean, you know.
Yeah, male or female.
Male or female, okay. And then your Fatherhood Initiative Program.
Fatherhood Initiative is surrounding to teach a man how to navigate him, how to pay his child support,
Okay.
get along with his child's mother,
Okay.
and how to manage his affairs financially, and also to assist him in some other needs. If he needs GED, if he needs employment skills, we try to work with men in that area.
Okay. And then you have the Women's Network.
The Women's Network is for female offenders. Now, the laws changed in 1995. So, and Dominion used to work with the Detroit Police Department Domestic Violence Unit. In fact, we was on the scene at the very beginning of the development of that. So, it was, if a police officer comes out, his job is to arrest the primary aggressor.
Exactly.
Now, if it appears that she is the primary aggressor, well, she's going to get arrested.
Okay.
So she will have to go through the same thing that men have to go through.
Right.
Go to take domestic violence classes, sometimes take anger management classes. So that's in the Women's Network. Also, but with me, I always say that's a two-sided coin, because a lot of the women, they will come in to our program and they will say, well, I'm the victim, I'm the victim.
Right.
You may have been the victim at one time, but right now, because the police is involved, the law is involved in your life, and they say that you was a primary aggressor, so you have to go through this class. But in this particular class, we deal with victimization, we deal with the law, we deal with their situations and who they are and what they want and what they need.
Okay.
And because it's all about change.
Exactly. Now, when in 1995, from 95 to 98, you know, I worked with Capital Area Response Effort in Lansing, and I found that when I moved back, I still wanted to continue being a domestic violence advocate, but it was just so hard to find programs in the city of Detroit, you know, geared for people in the city. So I signed up with First Step, but everything was in Trenton, Grosse Ile, or, you know, they addressed things outside of the skirts of Detroit, but it was nothing that nothing that I found like the program that they had in Lansing, because there we carried a pager. You know, if they got a domestic call, the Lansing Police Department, they paged us, the advocates. We would go out with the police or meet the police at the hospital, the homes, the police station, or wherever they were. We were able to be there for the victim, because 9 times out of 10, you know, the victim has been in this situation for many, you know, for some time, and they don't have the support of their family or friends anymore, you know, because everybody's probably said to them whatever, you know, and they're still in the situation. So we were there just for support. We would follow up, go file, you know, with them to do PPOs. We didn't lend money. We didn't give rides, but we were there for them, you know, because sometimes they just needed somebody to hear what they had to say, somebody to support them, somebody to just, you know, give them encouragement where they needed encouragement. You find a lot of times that they don't go out and they say they will follow up, you know, but a lot of times if they don't have anybody there with them, they are not going to follow up and file that PPO or go to court or do, you know, they're going to drop everything. And that's when the laws changed as well, because it became that you don't have to file. If the police come out, once they make the arrest, then it's up to the courts. Now it's no longer up to the women. So I think that that is really good.
I'm glad you said that, because in 96, 98, when Lieutenant Brown started the domestic violence unit in the Detroit Police Department. I was a crisis. I was one of their first crisis intervention specialists in Detroit, and I worked the west side, and we had a lady work the east side, and that's exactly what I did. I did personal protection orders. I advocated for them. I went to court with them, and I went out with the police officers. We call it the second response team. We were under a special grant for 6 years, and what they call the black and white will go out and make the place secure, and then the detectives would come. I traveled with the detectives to advocate for the woman to see, to assess the scene, to see what she needed, what the children needed, and what he needed. He got locked up. I would tell her, this is what I need to do with you. Get a personal protection order. Do you want to stay here? How long you want to stay? If you need to go into a shelter, I got her into a shelter. And that went on for about 6 years. It was a very good program. I call it that, really support. And of course, federal government money got cut, so the program was cut.
Okay, and that's really sad. So I think that, Dominion Family Services is kind of picking up where the programs were cut there. I mean, but at least you're giving the people the knowledge that they need, the help that they need to, to prevent becoming victims, to teach them.
Because Dominion was part of that particular program, so I kind of stepped off the board of Dominion and became a staff of Dominion. And another program that we had that we really want to get back in is to what we call male advocates. When a guy is locked up, let one of male advocates go talk to him and say, this is what's going to happen with you now. This is the process you got to walk through. And since you're being angry, this is happening, you're in a bad relationship, and this is what you need to do. You really need to come over here, get some classes, get some tools, so you'll learn how to have a good relationship so you can be a good father, and so forth and so on. But like I said, funding just stopped us from doing those kind of things.
So what we need are now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country, their community, their city. So if we can find some guys, and so if people want to volunteer, I guess I'm going to stop and do a commercial break right now for Dominion. So if there are some men out there that really want to volunteer and give back to the community, then please reach out to Dominion Family Services. Look at the programs that they're offering and see what it is, how you can help, how you can get in, where you fit in, and help the people that need the help. Okay, all right. So now let's talk about your next, the Link to Link. What is the Link to Link?
Link to Link is about HIV and AIDS. We have found out in the heterosexual community, there's not a lot being taught about that. We know about homosexuality and their behavior, but we're finding that in the heterosexual community, the AIDS and HIV is very high, especially among women. So what we have decided to do to educate our people about HIV and AIDS and how to be safe, how to have safe sex, how to make better choices, because we live in a different new world today, and it's like it's no holds barred, and everybody do everything, but you can't really do everything if you're not safe, because it's killing us, especially in the African American community. It's killing us. So we have the Link to Link. That's what we call it, Link to Link, to teach men and women how to have healthy sexual relationships.
So, Ms. Shirley, then the other services and referrals, like I say, so you do drug and alcohol testing?
Yes.
You do that for other companies, or I mean, if someone has a job interview, they could come to you and get the drug and alcohol testing, or how does that work?
All of our clients, we offer, drug testing, because we do it 3 times, when they first come in the middle of the program, and at the end of the program, because substance abuse, there's a lot of calls. It's not, I wouldn't say this, it's not the cause of domestic violence. Well, he was drunk, or he was high, or she was drunk. No, that's just a sidebar. So we that's one of the triggers. That's all it is. So we do drug testing.
And what is the Marijuana Insight Program?
Marijuana Insight Program, people are being arrested for smoking marijuana.
Okay.
So they have to take some classes. So we offer marijuana insight, and what it is if it's a whole group of people, it's about a 6-hour course one time, and we teach them what marijuana does to the body, to the mind, and to your emotions.
Okay. And driving while license suspended, what is that?
That's something we haven't changed on our website yet.
All right.
We used to offer that, but that's about in the state of Michigan. You know, the laws have changed again, and it's like I just found out in the past couple of years how many people drive with suspended license. When you get a ticket, pay the ticket. But they have to come and take classes to see how unsafe it is.
All right, right. And Give the Gift of Sight, is that a organ donation?
The Gift of Sight is a foundation that's in this country where they do free eye exams, and you get free classes.
Okay, all right. And a child therapist?
If we have a parent who has a child who's going through some trauma, we have a referral that we send the children to for some therapy. Okay.
So you guys offer a lot of services. Like I said, I saw Father, or it probably was like sometime last year, and I told him that I wanted to have him on the show, and he said Miss Shirley would be the best person to sit down and talk with you, about the programs, about the domestic violence, because I have, an organization that I'm trying to get off the ground, Women in Power Across a Path. It's a network of women uplifting, encouraging, inspiring, and motivating women and young girls who suffer from abuse, because I myself am a survivor of domestic violence, sexual abuse, and so I know for a fact that, when you grow up and there are a lot of things that you're doing and you're going through life, the root cause of most of those issues are, way from childhood. And if they're not addressed, then it just handed down from generation to generation to generation. We definitely need to address that. I think that what you guys are doing is really great, really, really, really great. I wish I knew, back in the day when I was coming up, like 5 years ago when I was like 20, you get me?
I got you. We want to discuss
exactly, but I wish that when I was coming up as a young girl that, there was somebody either that I could talk to or, that was there, because then it was like taboo. You didn't talk about, things that you were going through. You dealt with it. Your mom said you get a good man if he's paying the bills and blah, blah. You don't worry about that. So,
Barbara, it's still the same thing now.
Really?
It really is. It's sad. Because I'm working with a group of women now. We're addressing sexual assault, the incest, the rape that's going on in these relationships. It is unbelievable. And the women are staying with the people. And it's like, it's something we don't talk about.
Right. And see, and that's where I say, well, we need to empower women they need to know that the power is within, not without. You don't need a man to make you strong. And I'm not trying to, downplay the men. There are good men out here, but it has to be a healthy relationship. You have to know who you are. You have to be confident in knowing that, see, Miss Shirley, I did a show on celibacy. I've been by myself since 2004, without a man, just me and Jesus, learning how to be in a relationship, learning how to love Barbara Dean Franklin for once in my life, because I went from man to man. There were so many things that I went through, but I'm confident in who I am, all of me, I don't have to worry about trying to lose weight for somebody, trying to do this. Everything that I do is to the glory of God and to Barbara Dean Franklin, And I think that if we just can help our young women, all women as well, if we help them know that, the power that we have, if we just take our power back, And so what we need to do as women is, come together, support each other, be real with each other, not backstabbing, not catty, and, it is time for us to come together, because as women, they say behind a good man there is a good woman. As women, the young girls, just get yourself together. Just know the power that is within you. If you don't know, there are programs that are out here that are helping people today. There are women that are giving themselves back, safe, just different, programs that are out there that want to help the young girls get out of abusive relationships, to know who they are, to be confident in their walk, So I really appreciate what you're doing. You said that you were an international world traveler. Give me a little bit about where you've gone and some of the things that you're doing as you travel.
Since 1987, I've been really going in and out of other countries doing missionary work, going to the areas of poverty. One of the best trips that I've ever had was in Yugoslavia, where I lived with the people for 3 weeks, and it was at the time that the Bosnian War was going on. And to go into a country to see in the stores there was nothing on the shelves, and people had to what they had to eat was little of nothing. But I saw the move of God everywhere I went. I went into a woman's home. They wanted to serve me. Some of them had never seen an African American. I've never seen a black woman.
Okay.
And of course, I got called out my name by a little girl. I said it was all right, but she was in my lap before I left.
Okay.
But the thing was, the humbleness. What happened in that country? They told me they woke up one day, and the money wasn't worth nothing, and the survival was it. So that was one of the best trips I've ever had. I really appreciated Paul and Peter, them, how they walk, because I had to walk everywhere. Because say a 2-liter gasoline cost $10, and they said in Yugoslavia at that time, they said we used to be a young America. They said it's going to happen in America. I said, oh, I don't think we can be able to handle this, you know. But the thing is, so I've been to Africa twice. I've been to Zimbabwe, and I've been to Senegal. In Zimbabwe, we went to an orphanage, and we took clothes, and we bought some biddies so they can start a chicken farm, so they can support themselves. And in Dakar, Senegal, I went to a clinic where this doctor was seeing at least 200 women a day, whatever their ailment was, and his office was, he didn't have the up to date.
Right.
So we took money, we bought supplies, and we've done a lot of things. It was about 5 of us ladies then. So I really enjoy it, and that's my life calling, going abroad, helping women. And I want to help women who are in prisons in other countries, because women all over have the same issues, trauma, some trauma. Whether it's incest, whether it's rape, whether it's poverty, whether it's loss of parents, loss of a child.
Yes. Well, you know, as I listen to you talk, you know, and you say that it's going to happen, they were a young America. It's happening right now, I believe. You know, as I look at my community, you know, I could just only talk about what's in my backyard. You know, I don't have to go far out. You know? And I look at the devastating state of our communities, you know, how there are little kids that are probably not getting anything to eat. Their parents are just neglecting them, you know. You look at the, you know, the incest or the child trafficking, you know, the backstage or whatever these, you know, websites are that are, you know, that's going on. The way people are just dropping garbage and furniture off in our neighborhoods, trash strewn all over, you know, the streets, and we're not doing anything. We don't come together, you know. But for a while I cleaned up the community, passed out newsletters, say, hey, come on, let's clean up, because nobody's coming to save us. We have to be strategic. We've got to come together. We've got to support one another. But what are we going to do? You know, what are we going to do to be, you know, to stand up and take change? And I think in the beginning of your, you know, right on your website where it says change is not impossible.
No.
You know, but it starts within. You know, it's not something that nobody's going to come in and bring that change. It has to start with your mindset. You know, we've got to have a right attitude. And they said the attitude, you know, reflects your altitude. I was reading a book, and it was from Joyce Myers, and she was saying that, you know, you can be an eagle and soar. I said I was tired of walking around like a chicken, you know, just pecking what's on the ground. I'm ready to soar, you know, and everybody has to have that mentality. I can't say that if my neighbor doesn't, you know, if they're not doing anything, that nothing is going to get done. I have to stand up and, you know, make a difference and make a change. So I'm going to be calling you. I'm going to be calling Father Orr, definitely, and I think this is what I want to do. I know for a fact that my vision has just linked up with exactly what you guys are doing. So I guess I'm linked to link.
All right.
You know, I guess I'm linked to link right now with you guys. So I'll do some volunteer work with you and then just figure out how God is going to use me. But I thank you so much.
I
for
thank you. It's such a pleasure.
coming. Yeah.
Yes.
So a lot of things are falling on us, but we know we can't stop.
No, we can't.
We know that there are things that we must do.
Must.
To bring back the community.
Yes.
To help the community. And you said something about walking like Peter and Paul. God say He'll make you fishers of men.
Yes.
So I'm gonna follow you. So I can be a fisher of men as well. Thank you so much for coming and sitting down with me out of your busy schedule and sharing this information. Definitely will have you back, and I will definitely have Father Orr on the show with me so we could talk about where he's been, where he is, and where he's going.
You want to reduce the incidence of domestic violence in our community against women, then you got to deal with the perpetrator. You've got to make him safe.
Yes.
You've got to make him a good guy.
Right.
Okay.
And
You've got
accountable.
to accountable. You've got to make him understand that the behavior that he's displaying in home and in the community will no longer be tolerated.
Right.
And so
Wonderful.
Shirley, before I go, I want you to look into that camera. I want you to tell the people again about Dominion Family Services, why you do what you do.
I want to thank the audience for listening. At Dominion Family Services, we are here to help the family and to healing of the family, beginning with men, for them to understand who they are, that they must change, heal, and grow.
I
And
want to say thank you. I truly appreciate your support. I love you. You understand, okay, from my beating heart to your beating heart. Have a good day.